Question 1 of JAMB 2017 government exam says the Northern and Southern Protectorates were made province under dash. Option A, which is the Matheson Constitution, is wrong. Option C, which is the Clifford Constitution, is also wrong. Option D, Littleton Constitution, is also wrong. Now, the correct answer to this question is option B, which is the Richard's Constitution. Most times, students often feel the correct answer to this question is option C, which is the Clifford Constitution. But I would like to clarify this misconception. Now, the person that made the Northern and the Southern Protectorates a province was Governor Bernard Budalon, and he succeeded Sir Hugh Clifford as the Governor General of Nigeria in 1939 and later left office in 1945. Now, in 1939, while Budalon was still in power, he turned the Northern and Southern Protectorates into province, and he divided the Southern province into East and Western province, while the Northern province remained untouched. Now, at the time of Budalon's retirement in 1944, he had already concluded the new constitution he was drafting, where he recognized regionalism. As far as government is concerned, Governor Budalon drafted the constitution and retired, but it was Otto Richard who effected this change in Richard's constitution that replaced the Clifford Constitution. In fact, Otto Richard is the father of regionalism, and as far as government is concerned, Governor Budalon is not pronounced. Question 2 of JAMB 2017 government exam says the legal right to exercise power in a state is referred to as. The correct answer to this question is option A, which is authority. Now let's look at the definition of authority. Authority may be defined as the power or right to give order, make decisions, and enforce obedience. Now, authority as a concept can be used to mean the right to exercise power given by the state in form of government, judges, police officers, and so on. Now let's look at a police officer as an example. If a police officer arrests someone who commits a crime, do we say he exercises sovereignty? No. Do we say he exercises coercion? No. Does he also exercise influence? No. Now what do we say? We say the police has the authority given to them by the state to arrest any defaulter. So the correct answer, like I said earlier on, is option A, authority. Question 3 of JAMB 2017 government exam says the primary reason for establishing a political party is to. Now, the primary reason to establish a political party is not to protect political interests. So option B is wrong. It is not to make laws. Option C is also wrong. It is not also to lobby the government. Option D is also wrong. Now, the correct answer to this question is option A, which is to attain political power. Now, the main purpose of political parties is to join people who hold similar points of views, is to attain political power. Why? Because the main purpose of political parties is to join people who hold similar points of view about the government, and this group of people work together to influence the government by having its members elected to a government position. Now the answer, like I said earlier, is option A, which is attain political power. Question 4 of JAMB 2017 government exam says the head of government under the 1979 constitution is the. Option B, which is the prime minister, is wrong. Option C, which is the speaker house of representatives, is wrong. Option D, which is the senate president, is also wrong. Our correct answer to this question, option A, which is the president, because when Nigeria became a federal republic under the Constitution of 1963, the monarch and the governor general were replaced by a ceremonial president. And in 1979, under the 1979 Constitution, the president gained executive power, becoming the head of both the state and the government. So our correct answer is the president, option A. Question 5 of JAMB 2017 government exam says a system of government in which an individual rules with absolute power is. Now, to answer this question, we need to understand and know each of these concepts given as option. Now, option A, which is theocracy, is wrong because theocracy is a political system in which leadership is vested in the hands of the clergy. Option B, which is democracy, is also wrong. Why? Because democracy is defined as a form of government in which the people exercises their governing power either directly or indirectly. Option D, which is aristocracy, is also wrong. Why? Because aristocracy is a form of government in which power is held by people of noble birth. Now, our correct answer to this question is option C, which is autocracy. Autocracy is a form of government in which absolute control lies in the hands of a single person. Under autocratic law, the ruler has unlimited and undisputed power. Question 6 of JAMB 2017 government exam says, one of the demerits of the privatization of public corporations in Nigeria is option A, which is scarcity of goods and services, is wrong. Option C, which is creations of unemployment, is also wrong. And option D, which is inefficient service delivery, is also wrong. Now, the correct answer to this question is option B, which is high cost of goods and services. Now, to understand why we chose option B, I would first of all like to define what privatization is. Privatization is the transfer of business, industry, or service from public to private ownership and control. In privatization, the government ceases to be the owner of the entity or business. The reason why high cost of goods and services is one of the disadvantages of privatization of public corporation in Nigeria is because private companies do not care about the society and their main motive is to earn profits. And this contradicts the government parastatal which keep doing social work. Private companies are there to make profits and this will thereby affect the cost of goods and services. Question 7 of JAMB 2017 government exam says, in which of the following does the state have absolute control of all aspects of citizens' life? Option A, which is autocracy, is wrong because autocracy is a form of government in which absolute control lies in the hands of a single person. Option B, which is democracy, is also wrong because democracy may be defined as a form of government in which the people exercise their governing power either directly or indirectly. Option C is very close to the answer and is also wrong because communalism is referred to as a system of collective ownership of property and cooperation among members of a community in execution of development projects. The correct answer to this question is option D, totalitarianism. Totalitarianism is a political system where the state recognizes no limit to its authority and strives to regulate every aspect of public and private life. So the correct answer is option D. Question 9 of JAMB 2017 government exam says, one major merit of unitary system of government is that it, option A, is most democratic, wrong. Option C, eradicate corruption, is wrong. Option D, eliminate tyranny, is also wrong. Our correct answer to this question is option B, is cheap to operate. This is because in a unitary system of government, there is only one parliament and cabinet for the entire country, and this makes the government less expensive as compared to federal form of government.